Hi, Questers. Welcome back to the channel. So, I watched Blue Beetle last night. Yeah, I watched Blue Beetle last night. And I have to say, what is it with all the blue light? I mean, I know that it's the Blue Beetle, but I wanted to be watching Blue Beetle. I didn't want to be reminded of the 1998 Eiffel 65 song Blue, which is all I kept thinking about every time there was blue light everywhere. You know, I even kept thinking of the lyrics. You know, I even started humming like dabba dee dabba die. You know, I kept humming it whilst I'm trying to watch the film, and it was absolutely insane. But my thoughts on the film as a whole, I'm still not sure. I mean, I've had a day to think about it, and I'm just really not sure. I mean, just the amount of blue light and the way that the cities looked with all the lights all over the black place. It just I just don't know, because it was better than I expected. Let's just put it that way, because I expected it to be really, really bad. I expected it to be terrible from what I had been reading. Now, I don't normally listen to reviews and stuff like that, but the amount of people that were saying that it was so bad, I can understand why. I really can. I really could understand why. I hope this sounds okay because I'm actually using the YouTube um, live stream instead of my StreamYards, which I normally use. But I don't have as much input capability on this platform for some reason. You'd think that YouTube would have had more stuff that you can do, but yeah. Uh, but Blue Beetle, I mean, the suit I didn't like. The story was just there was a lot of pointless parts, if that makes any sense. And if they actually wanted people to watch it, they should have done something dramatic to to draw us in, because that would have made a lot more sense. But I mean, there's not an awful lot that's memorable about it except for all the blue light. Like I said, Eiffel 65 songs. You know, that's all I kept thinking about was blue. Oh my god. Because I was born in the 80s, so I grew up through the 90s as my teenage years. And when Eiffel 65 brought Blue out, I was actually in college. So whenever we would go to the what did they call it? I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a little community center inside the college, for when you're on lunch, when you're on your breaks and stuff, and between classes. So we would go in there, and they would be playing MTV all the time, and constantly. I don't know. I mean, in the hour that I would usually spend in that building, I must have heard that on MTV 30 times within the hour. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, I don't get it why it was so popular, but it was a catchy song, and everyone kept singing it and humming it and playing it and stuff. So I mean, that's why every time I saw all the blue light, all I could think about was that song. I mean, I'm trying to watch a superhero movie, but every time every time they were in it, all I kept thinking about was that song. And that was absolutely insane. And if you want to know what song I'm talking about, it's in the description below. Eiffel 65 Blue. I put it there because why the hell not? I mean, like I said, all I kept thinking about was that song. It was absolutely crazy. That's all I could think about. Although there was a lot of stuff in it that didn't make sense. I mean, it was called the Blue Beetle. That's fine. It's about that Blue Beetle thing that gets under your skin. It's a symbiote basically, and it gets into you and it forms a suit around you. It does this to protect you and all this sort of stuff. That's fine. I've got no problem with that idea. But the thought that someone was called the Blue Beetle before that was discovered, and that guy had all that technology. I mean, what's the bug ship? I mean, when was that? I mean, it'd be interesting to find out what the idea was. I mean, I know there's supposed to have been a comic book of the Blue Beetle, so I guess in the comic book he wasn't really much of a superhero. He was more like a Batman, billionaire, um, intelligent and stuff like that. So he must have known um, about certain things, but I just don't. I mean, it wasn't necessary, really, was it? I mean, it was just to get his family and Jennifer from one, involved. Because I mean, it's not like they haven't done that sort of thing before, and I wish that DC just did a better job because it's not that great. It wasn't that good at all. It was interesting, yes, but it's the fact that this guy he comes home after, I'm guessing he was in college studying for pre-law. He just graduated. He comes home. He finds out that his dad's had to put the house. Well, the house is mortgaged so much that it's being taken away from them by the bank, which is owned by, I guess the bank's owned by the same company, Cord Industries or something along those lines. And the tech that they use, it's just ridiculous looking tech. I mean that big gun that his gran has with all the lights, it looks like an old 80s disco. It looks like an 80s portable disco unit. It's just why? What was the point? Um, but there's not many superhero movies lately that do really well. Um, but for DC, I mean, they had the Flash. Now they got Blue Beetle. They had Wonder Woman. They had the Batman. Then they had Aquaman. I was like, well, technically, amongst all of those films, I mean, there isn't one that stands out. I mean, Aquaman stands out only for one reason: Jason Momoa. Because I'm a fan of Jason Momoa because I've been a fan of his since his days as Roland Dex in Atlantis. It was Stargate Atlantis, by the way. But that Apple show C, I didn't like that. I watched the first series and I didn't like it, so I stopped. I didn't like it that much. But the fact that they got all this DC superhero IP and they can't make a good movie. I mean, I know they're starting to get to a point where they have to compete um, with Marvel, but at the level that they've been making these movies, it just doesn't work. They need to do something, and it needs to be an epic movie. It's like, I mean, the classic Batman 1990. I mean, I know there was a movie of Batman long before that in the 70s, 60s, 70s, something along those lines. So I know that there were older movies, but because there was a couple of Batman movies at least based on the old, was it the 60s Batman TV show where all that Kapow stuff from the comics was actually in the show. But what I don't understand is why would they make such bad movies as a result of their IP? Because I mean, their IP should outperform Marvel, especially now, because people want a good superhero movie, and Marvel haven't done that in a while. because Disney had basically got them concentrating on shows, right? And you got to bear in mind that some of the best Marvel stuff since Endgame has been the Spider-Man movies, but that was Sony. I mean, I don't think Sony was involved in every Marvel movie, but I know certainly all the Spider-Man movies were made by Sony, right? With is it Tom Holland? Yeah, it's Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Spider-Man was done by Sony. So, and that's part of the reason why the Spider-Man game is so popular, because Sony are really good when it comes to that sort of stuff. But the fact that DC are Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers have done excellent work in the past with superhero stuff, with Batman's, Superman, all the DC stuff. But what I don't get is, how can they make the Blue Beetle so bad that I don't remember much of it. I mean, all I can remember is the blue light, like I said, and that's for us. That's not even because it's because of the movie. That's because of a song that I used to hear everywhere in my college days in 1998. I was like 18 at the time. Well, 17 to 18, 17, 18. I was in college between 17 and 19. So, in fact, when I was 19, that's when I moved to Wales. That's when everything started going downhill a bit, not completely. But I certainly do wish that I didn't move to Wales when I was 19. Before I was 19. Was it after I was 19? Before? I think it was after I was 19. No, sorry, I was 18. I left school at 16, so I was in college between the ages of 16 and 18. So I was 18 just before I moved. So that was not good for me personally. But Blue Beetle, like I said, it looked good. If it wasn't for all the blue light, it might have been better. And all those bright lights everywhere, all over the city skyline. It's like, well, I mean, you wouldn't want to live in that city, would you? Because every time you go to sleep, you'd be saturated in light coming through the windows. No matter what, you put blinds up, you put curtains up, and I mean, you'd literally have to completely black out your windows in order to get the room dark. So I mean, personally, I would have trouble sleeping in that city with all that light, because if I couldn't, unless I paint the windows black. But I mean, Blue Beetle was terrible, but it did have good parts. I mean, even bad movies have good parts, and in my opinion, Blue Beetle, I mean, as a fairly unknown superhero, I mean, you would have thought that they would put more into it. I mean, the dialogue was bad. The actors were mediocre at best in their performance. So, I mean, you didn't believe a single one of them, and that's one of the things that I don't like about entertainment lately, is that a lot of actors are not good actors. They're just doing it because they're just basically hired because maybe they think, oh, that looks like an attractive guy. We'll have him as the main hero, and then we'll have this attractive young lady as a supporting role, you know. But it's like they're just getting the job because they look good, not because they're good actors. Now, I think that's something that's missed in Hollywood now, is the quality of acting, because I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen one or two of these actors in stuff before, because was the main character, he was in, was he in Cobra Kai? I'm not 100% sure if he was in Cobra Kai or not, but he looks like he was in Cobra Kai. I mean, I recognize he looks like someone from Cobra Kai that I can say that I recognize, but I can't be sure. I'm not going to look it up because it's Blue Beetle. But when it comes to this sort of entertainment, where they just say, "Oh, we know him from somewhere and he looks good," we know her from somewhere, she looks good. We know they from somewhere, so they look good, so we'll have them in it. It's just they've got them in it for the sake of their looks, not because they're good actors. And Hollywood needs to go back to that route. They need to have good actors. I mean, we've got bad writers, and they're just going. I mean, after the writer's strike, you'd think that they would stipulate in the agreement, if they could, that in order for them to get paid more like they want, you have to write up to a certain quality of material. So anything you write should be of a sufficient quality to justify the pay increase. That's what I think. Because if you're not motivated to write a good script, then you're not going to write a good script. And that's what the problem is with a lot of stuff lately, is that they're just looking at the world and they're looking, right, we're in this political situation now where we've got the woke movement, we've got the cancellation movement, which is a completely different aspect, but it exists, and it is a huge problem for current entertainment. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's my opinion that they shouldn't interfere. And that's the problem. They do. It's like they just don't have the motivation, right? I mean, I'm not going to go too much into that because that's not what I want to do. But they just don't seem to have the motivation to write good quality content. Now, the pay scale should reflect on that, in my opinion. So, if you write bad quality stuff, then technically you shouldn't get paid a lot of money because essentially you'll be losing losing people's attention. So the whole point of the entertainment industry and streaming services and movies and shows is you need to draw people in. So you need to write good stuff to keep people interested, right? So when you're not writing good quality stuff like Blue Beetle, you need to stand back and you need to think about it. Now, I understand why the writers were striking. I do. But I just don't agree that they deserve a large pay increase if they do not write quality stuff that people are going to go and see or people are going to subscribe for, because that's the modern day. That's what it is like now. They have to write the quality stuff so that we want to see it, so that we want to pay the subscription fee. So I pay for Amazon Prime, Netflix. I do pay for Disney Plus, and I do pay the extra charge through Prime for Paramount Plus, and I do pay Apple. So I've got all the major streaming services available to me, and the problem with them is that a lot of the time they're throwing out content that is not good. So I mean, look at what Amazon did with Rings of Power. It's exactly the same thing. It was a badly written show, and they concentrated on the woke atmosphere in the Hollywood right at that point in time, which was a mistake. Because I'm all for being inclusive and diverse, but the problem is the cancel culture don't want diverse inclusivity. They want to, and the woke movement. They want you to basically, they want to force you to think the way they do. They want to try and manipulate the world so that what they see as right is the right thing. but they're a minority group, which means that they shouldn't hold the power that they do. But when you look at something like Blue Beetle, and you want a good superhero flick, and you don't get it, then why the hell would we watch the next Superman movie or show? Why the hell would we watch the next Batman or the next Wonder Woman? And that's that's just my opinion on stuff that's happening at the moment. And with Blue Beetle, it's evident that they're trying to move away from that aspect. So they're trying to move away from the wokeness of the world at the moment. But the problem is, sorry about that, dry throat. My cup's dirty. I should have washed it before I made that coffee. Anyway, when you get something like Blue Beetle where they try, and although they did avoid a lot of it, but at the same time they didn't make anything good, if that makes sense. And Blue Beetle is not an exception. It's not an exception because it was pretty bad, and in my opinion, it should have gone straight to streaming. It didn't deserve a cinematic release. So when I saw it, I mean, I'm regretting renting it to watch it last night because it just wasn't worth the couple of quid it cost to pay to watch it. When I say that, I think it was like, I can't remember how much it was, but it was just pointless. I mean, what was the point? But I watched it so I could make this video and tell you that I finally did watch it. But that's the problem. I watched it and I really didn't like it. I really didn't like it. It's like with a lot of stuff that's being pumped out nowadays. I really didn't like it. It's like episode 2 of Continental wasn't that good. It wasn't good at all. Gen V episode 1 I watched. I've done a video for. I'm doing another video for Gen V episode 2 later tonight at midnight for us in the UK, which will be what would it be? 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Pacific Standard Time, I think. So don't quote me on it. I'm not good with maths, and I'm not used to the working with the time zone difference. But if they really wanted to make good stuff, then they need better writers. I mean, they need to emphasize that writers need to write better quality stuff than what they are. I mean, it would be the same with Lucasfilm, with Star Wars, or Disney with all the other films. Concentrate on the quality of writing as opposed to saying, oh, we want this person's name attached to it. Despite the fact that they're a bad writer, they're not going to write good content, right? Not unless they've got the incentive to do so. So they should do something about the writers' pay gap, because there should be a minimum and a maximum, right? So you'll get paid the minimum if you don't write good content. But if you write the best quality content, then you get more money. That's what it should be. You should be paid for the quality of the work you do, because it really does make sense. Same with actors; they should get paid for the quality of the work they do, and they shouldn't have they shouldn't have the power to say, "Oh, I won't appear in that movie unless you pay me 40 million." I think some actors get more than that. Some actors get around that, but I'm not going to go into names. But was it Julia Roberts at one point, if not still is, was one of the highest paid actors in the world, and I think she wouldn't even consider a part unless she was getting paid what she wanted. Same with other actors; they don't get paid what they want. So I mean, it's not. I'm not being sexist or anything like that. It's just that I don't think Julia Roberts deserved the amount that she would demand for each movie, if that makes sense. Because I mean, I know there are a lot of people who love Julia Roberts. They think she's amazing, but me personally, I just don't like her. I don't like her. And I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm allowed my opinion, but I'm just saying that if they don't deserve the amount of money that they ask that they are expecting, then don't pay them that amount of money. There should be a minimum, a maximum, and you move up or down depending on the quality of your work, right? That's how it should work. But unfortunately, it doesn't. And it shows with Blue Beetle and a lot of stuff that's been out lately for Disney, especially, and Lucasfilm. The best written stuff I think at the moment is probably on Apple. I think, and that would probably be. No, it's not Apple. Sorry, I was wrong. It's not Apple. The best written stuff at the moment. Well, it doesn't exist. There is none. No, there is no written work that's better or worse than any other. Because they're all pretty bad, and I can't put it on a scale to say like this one was good, this one was bad, because that's not fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that there's no average. All right, they're all average. Let's just say they're all average, and there are some exceptions which are below average, and there are exceptions that are above average. But there's no extremely good movies, not that I've seen at the moment. But when I get to see Oppenheimer and stuff like that, any of the other stuff that have been performed really, really well in the industry, then I will comment on that again. I will say whether it was written well, acted well, and stuff like that, because it makes sense. But with Blue Beetle, all I can think is that's why they got the job, because they look nice. Not because they're good actors, because their acting was terrible. There was no emotion. It's kind of like with Ahsoka. That's the problem with Ahsoka is you get no emotion from the actors. The cast, they're not portraying the feelings that the characters should be going through, right? That's the whole thing about Luke in Star Wars is when he was angry, you could see he was angry. When he was upset, you could see he was upset. That's the point, isn't it? That's what actors are supposed to do. They're supposed to transmit their emotion as the character, right? Because I'm pretty sure that I've seen actors talk about how they do it, and they say that there's some parts that they get so into. I mean, I think the most recent one was an Expanse, a video I watched where they were talking to the Expanse crew, and they were explaining how they had to try and how they would emphasize the emotion of that moment from the character. So, and it worked. It really worked, and it was an extremely successful show. Okay, granted, when it was sci-fi, it was pretty bad for the first 2 seasons, but then when Mark Fergus took over and it ended up on Amazon, outstanding. Amazon put the money in, so they've worked with Mark Fergus and Hawk Osby before. So I mean, I've got high hopes for Stargate, but I'm not going to put it on a pedestal. It's not going to be all the way up there. I'm going to keep it down low because I don't want to get hurt by how good or bad Stargate is when it comes back. It's the same with Babylon 5. I would have high hopes, but in the current climate, I'm going to keep my hopes down here. I'm going to keep them reined in and close. Because, like I said, I mean, Babylon 5 and Stargate, they're important shows. They're really good sci-fi. They're sleeping giants, and and they're getting woken up. Not woke up, but they're waking up, which is good. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about Blue Beetle, well, to say one is an understatement. There are multitudes of things I didn't like about Blue Beetle. And the worst one, despite the acting, was all the light. Because, like I said at the beginning of this video, all I could think about whenever it was with all that blue light everywhere was Eiffel 65, 1998 Blue. The song. I was humming it every time I saw that, and it was absolutely crazy that I'm trying to watch this film and that's all I could think about. I mean, if it was a good, entertaining movie, all you would think about is the movie, and that hasn't happened in a very long time, especially for me. I mean, I love a good movie, but if there isn't a good movie, then exactly, Harris, how you doing, buddy? You're in my chat for a change. That's insane. How the hell are you, mate? I got a nice surprise for you. There you go. You did it for me, so I'm doing it for you, buddy. Good, good. You changed the time on that live, buddy. Well, you did it for me, so it's only fair I'll do it for you, right? But you're my first mod, actually. You're my very first moderator. There you go. But that's all I could think about was that song. Every time the screen was covered in blue, and all I could think was that, and I was humming it all the time. It was absolutely stupid, and I wish it was so much better. So I should have used StreamYards for this. No. Well, I don't know what I'm doing at the minute. Right. Yeah, let's do. Well, I'm certainly not going to be using YouTube on its own anymore. I'm going to start. I'm not. I've just thought I'd try it out this time. Yeah, Blue definitely should have been the theme tune. It would have made sense when they got into that bug ship. How stupid was that bug ship? I didn't like that. I really didn't. I thought to myself, it looks like something out of Lex. It should have been in Lex. It should have been a Lex shuttle. But yeah, I was half expecting that song to be played on that bug ship because that was terrible. I just didn't like it. There's loads of stuff in there. I mean, even the bad guy, I can't even remember the name of his armor suit, but that was terrible, absolutely terrible. But there's nothing about the film that I think was entirely memorable. It's just stupid, in my opinion. And yeah, exactly, Harris. It could have been, but I mean, how about that big? How about Grandma's big disco gun? Bloody flashing lights all over it. That was just stupid as well. I was just saying about the actors because I think that the actors were pretty bad in that because um, the way they expressed the characters' emotions, there was nothing. It was just they were just flat. There was nothing, and and that's not what you want from a movie like that. It's just stupid. Exactly. It's like I've like I said it earlier, but I'll say it again because you weren't here. But now that you're here, I'll say it again because I think that those actors were just picked because they look nice. That's the only reason. They're not particularly good actors. And the guy, he the guy from is he the guy from Cobra Kai? Because I can't remember if he was, but he looks like him. And I like Cobra Kai, but I don't know the actors' names. So it feels like he's the guy from Cobra Kai. But I mean, I don't recognize her from anything. She doesn't stand out to me, and but I just it was most of it was bad. It's just how can I explain how any good parts in that except for Eiffel 65 song that kept coming into my head. Just that's the best part of it, is that it made me think of a song that you heard everywhere at a specific time in my life. I mean, I was in college, like I said, and every day I would go to like the leisure center inside on the campus, and just for the lunch period or a free period, and we'd go in there, and I would always have MTV playing on the telly, and all I would hear is that probably about 15 times in an hour. It's just stupid. So it sticks in your head, and it was such a catchy song and tune that you'd never forget it. It's like the Flat Eric from Beat. Is it Beats? I think it's Beats. But the guy, the puppet with his hand on the car door, and he's going boom, 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 boom. That's just, it's like that one. It sticks to your head, sticks in your head, and you can remember it. But I think they all did. It's like they were all absent. They were there, but it's just like they're just showing how bad they are. And like I said, I mean, I said before that there's how actors can get a set amount of money just because that's what they want from being in a movie. It's like they'll say, oh, I like the idea of being in a movie, but I won't be in it for less than say 20 million or something like that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. I think they should get paid for the quality of work they do in that production, if that makes sense. Yeah, I blame you for that, Harris. It's someone, they'll keep popping in and out anyway. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it would make sense. It's the same for writers. Writers should be treated the same way. I mean, it's just my opinion, because if you've got no incentive, like getting paid more money for writing good stuff, then you're just going to get stuck with bad stuff, and and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're going to get paid tens of thousands a week or whatever for writing trash, basically, and it's not good. It's not good for the future of the industry. I don't know what deal they've made with the WGA, but I hope that they make it public, because obviously it'd be nice to know what this deal is when you're not part of the union. But I don't know. I can't think of much to say anymore about Blue Beetle, except for I wish I was watching Herbie as well, because that's the only bug that I loved as a kid, the love bug. That would be good. That would be interesting. Well, who wouldn't want to watch Herbie? I mean, it's just silly. I mean, the theme tune and the fact that it was always the underdog, and and the 53 on the front was just Herbie. Who doesn't like Herbie? Probably a lot of people. Not exactly. No one does it like the love bug. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I had a kebab before I watched Blue Beetle, and I kind of wish that I hadn't, because it kind of, watching the film, gave me gas. Let's just say that. But I don't know what else I can say about it, because if I'm perfectly honest, and I'll try to be, then it was just another bad movie. Another bad movie. That's all it is. And for the DC universe to come out with that, I mean, that's not even as. I mean, I thought Wonder Woman was bad. Blue Beetle trumps that, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't like the actress that they picked for Wonder Woman, and I don't think she's all that. As if that's fair, but the fact that she was better than any of the actors in Blue Beetle, it's just really both. I mean, I liked the. I mean, when I was a kid, I watched reruns of the old Wonder Woman TV show from the 70s, and and I'd rather go back and watch that than watch Wonder Woman. The more recent ones. And there was a Wonder Woman movie made. Was it when was it? Was it 2010? Somewhere around there. That was a TV movie, and that was much better than the Wonder Woman that we had. Yes, but you know they seem to try and pick one actor to play the role, unless you're Batman. Then you just get a different actor every time, except for the Dark Knight trilogy and obviously the 1990 Michael Keaton. He's the best Batman, I think. But Superman, I mean, how many they changed the Superman guy, especially for the next one. I mean, I'm not following too much. I've got to do some research into stuff like that, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with the first Flash Gordon film, and Queen was the perfect band to do the theme to that. The first Gabbett film, you liked it, but she is a wooden actress. Beautiful, just yeah. But I mean, I've seen her in a couple of other things, and she's much better in those roles than she was as Wonder Woman. But but you can say that about most actors who play superheroes, can't you? Think of an example. Uh, Off the top of my head, I can't think of an example. Right, an example. Um, yeah, I think as a comedy, as a in a if I can get untongue tied, in a comedic sense, she can probably be. She's pretty good. She can be pretty good, but as Wonder Woman, not so much. Exactly like Mark Wahlberg or something like that, or someone like that. Yeah, exactly. A perfect example. Okay, Harris, no worries. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg, perfect example. Um, or even Matt Damon. Has Matt Damon been a superhero? He hasn't, has he? I don't think he has. No, I don't think he's been a superhero at all. No. Interesting. It is interesting that he hasn't been a superhero. But then Jason Bourne, you know, he's close enough to a superhero, isn't he? And he did fly like Iron Man in The Martian, which was good. I do like The Martian. But, I mean, Blue Beetle is, oh my god, Blue Beetle. Oh, Blue, da da ba dee da ba die. It's just, I mean, they didn't even dial down the blue. It was just everywhere. like in the Blue Beetle, every inch of that beetle, that bug ship, every inch was covered in blue light. It was ridiculous. If I had a choice to watch Blue Beetle or say even Wonder Woman, I'd probably go back and I'd probably say I'd watch Wonder Woman. Thank you very much. Um, there are other things that I would rather watch, but I won't go into them. But immediately after Blue Beetle, I actually watched or rewatched um, Shazam. Now, Shazam was a much better movie than Blue Beetle. It had more. It had that extra comedic role, as well as the silliness of of the cast members. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I would rather have watched Shazam first and then maybe Blue Beetle after. But I have to say that last night I did watch, like I said, I watched Shazam. Then after Shazam, I watched Black Adam. And tonight I was going to watch. Tonight I was going to watch Shazam: Fury of the Gods. But I've got other things I need to watch, so I'm going to be doing a live watch party for Gen V episode 2, which I haven't seen yet, and then tomorrow night I'll be doing Gen V episode 3. That'll be at midnight tonight, I think, for me. So that's 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Pacific Standard Time. What else? What else was there? If I was to say that I want to do videos reacting to previous DC movies, I wonder what movies would be best to start with. Maybe if I start with the 90s Batman, or go back even further and the 1970s Superman, or maybe even go back even further and do one of the original TV movie for Batman. I don't know. I'll see what ones I can get a hold of and see how that goes. I'm actually looking forward to Monarch. That'll be good. I hope. But I just wish they would stop hiring actors because they look good, and rather they look for more talented actors, because I'd rather watch bad movies with good actors than bad movies with worse actors, if that makes sense. Because being able to express the emotions of the character is it should be something that's important for an actor to be able to portray. This is how this character should be feeling. Because if they're just flat with no reaction at all, then it just, that's the way it goes. It's just the way it is right now. I hate to say the woke word, but the woke and the cancellation culture and stuff, it's just people just don't have the entertainment abilities. They don't have the ability to entertain as they used to. I mean, I bet a lot of the best actors in history, they come from the theatre, right? So they come from being on stage in theatres. So when they come back and start doing movies, they've got that way they can. What's the word I'm thinking of? They can express the character's emotions. And they draw you in with that ability. We have lost a few really good actors that are capable of that recently, but that's a shame that we've lost some really good actors. But they need to have more of those to be able to actually teach, if not at least demonstrate how the new generation of actors should be, portraying their role or expressing their or demonstrating their craft, basically. Because if the old actors if the old greats couldn't train the new generations to be, to basically act the way that they used to, instead of just be, oh, I want to be an actor because I want to get paid a lot of money to read lines in front of a camera, which is what acting, which is what they're doing essentially. I mean, that's what they're doing. But when you get actors that are just thinking, I'm going to be an actor because I want to get paid this amount of money just for that, you know, just for being in a movie, just for being in a TV show. So the ones that are just in it for a paycheck are so obvious, and that's what I think they did. That's what the cast of Blue Beetle were. That's what they wanted. They wanted to basically get the paycheck. That's it. Full stop. Full stop. They didn't want. They didn't get the role because they were particularly good actors, because they really, really were not good in this show or in this movie. And when you get a superhero that is that bad, being portrayed that bad by the actor, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we've seen it happen with Disney and Marvel, and it would be nice if, let's say, if they wanted to redo Batman again, because the last Batman that they did was pretty bad. I mean, even that actor, although he's a known actor and he's supposed to be this good-looking guy, I don't see that, in my opinion. But with the Batman, I mean, even he was flat, no emotion, nothing. It's just a paycheck to him, right? Whereas, in the old days, actors used to be much better. They used to be able to portray emotion. Uh, s- the very, the extremely good ones, or the best actors, used to be able to cry on cue. So they could make themselves cry for no reason. That's what's missing in as well. That we're missing that in modern day. And also, there's the fact that in some things that I've watched recently, when they're sitting down around a table to eat, they don't even eat food. Now, the first time I noticed it was um, in a Star Wars movie, actually. In Star Wars um, Attack of the Clones, I think it was, when Anakin floats that that apple thing, and cuts it and sends it over, and Padme catches it with the fork. Then she bites into it. It's fake. You don't, it is absolutely fake. You can see it. It just disappears before it gets to her mouth, right? It just vanishes. Now, I saw that in Ms. Marvel, and I thought to myself, I wonder how many times I've missed that in shows and movies. So now, whenever I see um, a group of people in a movie or a show standing or sitting around a table, eating, that I look for it now, to see whether they're actually putting a piece of fruit or a piece of food in their mouth rather than it just vanishing with CGI, because that was ridiculous seeing it. I mean, they can't even eat on camera. What the hell? But I mean, when they make a good movie, I mean, I'm not saying that they haven't made a good movie recently, but in my opinion, I haven't seen any good movies recently. Um, Apart from John Wick 4. Now, a lot of people don't like John Wick 4, but I thought it was a pretty good film. It wasn't as good as the previous Wick films, but it was good. Now, with Continental, episode 2 of Continental, it was slow, drawn out, and nothing happened. Now, compare that to a John Wick movie, there's a lot more stuff going on in John Wick. If John Wick had more stuff going on, then why can't the Continental? Episode 1 was really good. I mean, there was just the right amount of action for the start, to start the story. So when the third one comes out, I'm hoping that it will outperform episode 1 of Continental. But I seriously hope they don't decide to make another Blue Beetle movie. Why don't they change it up and say have the red beetle, the yellow beetle, the green beetle? Because at the beginning of the movie, when the beetles are sent into space, they and divide. There are there's loads of them. I didn't have a chance to count it. I might take a look to see if anyone's counted how many there are, but there's got to be at least a rainbow, the same number of beetles as the colors are on a rainbow, right? So there's got to be yellow, green, purple, red. It would make sense. So there's a potential there to have other beetles arrive on Earth, and we'll get the blue beetle team up with the red beetle or the green beetle or something, because that would be good. But other than that, I don't care for Blue Beetle. I mean, I would, as I've watched the first one, I would probably watch a second one if they do make one. I doubt they will because it performs so badly. And it came onto streaming, well, to rent on Prime quite quickly. But I don't think that it's worth making another Blue Beetle movie. It's just like The Batman. There's no point in them making a second The Batman or The Batman 2 because it was not that good. And it could have been a lot better. Could have been a hell of a lot better. Also, if they wanted to carry on the Justice League movies, that would be good. It would be nice to see the team ups because it's essentially just like the Avengers, isn't it? It's just that the Marvel did it before DC did it. When you think that they're replacing Superman. Oh yeah, and when I watched Shazam, at the ending when he sits down at the table and he says, "Oh, I brought a friend. I hope you don't mind." And Superman comes along and stands there. I couldn't help but think that there was something missing because I know that Superman's supposed to be blue, red, and gold, right? But isn't he supposed to be wearing like red pants over the top of his suit? Is it supposed to be like that red part to break it up a bit? I know he's got like that red strip that comes around his waist, but it only comes around like 3/4, I'd say. So they're missing the red pants over his tights, which I thought was silly. But I can't remember if he had that in Man of Steel. I don't think he did. But I'm not sure. I'm not going to be holding high hopes for any DC content or movies coming out anytime soon. It would be nice, but it's just one of those. It's just they're not looking at their movies or anything the right way. I mean, look how successful the Arrowverse was. So we had the Arrow, we had the Flash, we had Supergirl, and we had Legends of Tomorrow, and we also had Batwoman, which was pretty bad actually, and I regret watching it. But they all fit in to the universe, right? Even though first time we see a crossover, it's Arrow and Flash. But if I was to think about it, I'd probably go back and watch them again quite easily. And the Blue Beetle and a lot of the other stuff that's coming out lately are probably not really. I haven't rewatched The Road Home from Babylon 5 yet. Mind you, saying that, I did watch it twice before I made that video. So later on tonight, at midnight for us in the UK, and I think it's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock in Pacific Standard. I'll be reacting. I will be doing a live watch party for Gen V episode 2. Maybe some of you will join me there, and I'll be doing it slightly earlier tomorrow night, probably around 11 o'clock. Maybe I'll do Gen V episode 3. I want to do that a little bit earlier, because if what I'm hearing about the second episode is true, which I'll find out tonight with you guys if you join me, I don't know if I will continue past Gen V episode 3. It depends on how well these episodes draw me in, if they do at all. And if they do, then I will start doing reactions to the boys episodes. Now, I've seen season 1 and part of season 2 of the boys, but I will do a full rewatch for reaction videos to those at some point. But saying that, I'm not sure, because it all depends on how well these next 2 episodes of Gen V are, in my opinion. Because I don't have the same opinion to a lot of people that I know who liked it, and I'm sort of balanced at the moment. I'm sort of balancing, so I'm not sure. I'm not leaning one way or the other, but I'm hoping that by the end of episode 3 of Gen V, I'm hoping to sort of be swayed towards it. And if I'm swayed towards it with Gen V, then I will definitely do a watch. I will definitely watch the boys from the start again. But other than that, there's not a lot that I can say about it. I mean, I did say quite a bit for the episode 1 watch party. I was in 2 minds of doing episode 2 because I heard from people that I know that it wasn't that good. But if I can suffer through episode 2 tonight, then do episode 3 tomorrow night, that would be good. We've got the Continental coming as well. The next episode, the final episode this week. So I'll be doing that on Friday. I'll do a watch party for that as well, but I'm not sure what time that'll be. I might do that in the afternoon. I'm not sure, but we'll see. What else? Oh, we've got Loki starting on Friday. Is that this Friday? I think it's this Friday. Let me just do a quick search and find. Well, I'll just open Disney and have a look. I believe that's Friday. Yep. So on the 6th, and that is definitely Friday, isn't it? Friday is the 6th. Yep. So I'll be. So I mean, I will do a. Should I do a watch party for Loki? But the problem is, I don't know what time it's going to be released. If it's released like Ahsoka, then I'll do a watch party because I'll stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll do a party for that, like I do for Ahsoka. But Ahsoka finishes this week, so that's the thing. See, this week is going to be the end of 2 shows. So we've got episode 3 of Continental. That's it, the finale. Episode 8 of Ahsoka. That's it, the finale. And you know, that's 2 days at least that I'll be doing for the last time for a while until something else comes out. But if Disney changed the release time for Loki to be on par with Ahsoka, then it will be a live watch party. The drawback is if it's not and it's released at midnight PS Pacific Standard, and then 8 a.m. for me here, it's not going to be worth doing a live watch party because people here will be waking up and doing their everyday stuff, and in Pacific Standard Time, or in Eastern US, Western US, they'll be in bed. So I don't know if anyone would stay up to watch Loki, or get up early to watch Loki. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. It depends. I'll try and find out if they're going to change it or not. I'm hoping that they do, because if they change their release time to be more like Ahsoka, it would make more sense. So if they had Loki episodes released at 2 o'clock in the morning, that would be better. But that would be 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday for me. But that's besides the point. They may or may not do that, but until I find out for sure, it doesn't actually say on Disney Plus, so I can't get the information. So I don't know. Let me just see. Let's do a search. What time will Loki season be released in the UK? What time? What time will Loki be released? See, it says 8 a.m. That's the problem. Now it's all right for Ahsoka because I can stay up until 2 o'clock and then do an immediate reaction, and then I can stay up, do the watch party, react to it, and then I can watch one or two other videos that I watch. Then after that, go to bed. But when it's 8 o'clock in the morning, it's not worth it because it's midnight in Western United States, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here. That's going to be released on the Saturday, not Friday, Saturday. Well, no, actually, no. That probably will be Friday, so it probably would be 8 a.m. for me on Friday. Yeah, it will be because it's midnight. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong. I've straightened that out, so I know how that's going to work. Now, it's a shame that they're releasing them at those times because that is absolutely ridiculous. Midnight PST, 8 o'clock for us in the UK, and no one's going to watch it until at least 5 o'clock at night in the afternoon, which is stupid if you ask me. Disney need to think about releasing it around the same time they do Ahsoka, because then I can do a video. I can do a live watch party and talk about it, and maybe have people join me. But the drawback is that I can't do that. That's the problem. I can't do it with. It's hard to do with the Continental because it comes out at 5 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard, and that's 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me here. Who's going to be watching a live stream at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when they're working midweek, or even at 5 o'clock in the morning in America, between 5 and 8, 5 and 7 or 8 or whatever it is? I forget how many time zones there are in America. I think there's 3, isn't there? But I mean, I really hope that they do consider it. But it's too late now because it's already scheduled for 8 o'clock in the morning for us in the UK on Friday. So I don't know how it's going to work. I might just do a live reaction from like 8 and 9 o'clock, something like that. Wednesday morning is going to be, that's going to be Ahsoka for me. So that's tomorrow night. Yeah, that's just tomorrow night. It's Monday now, isn't it? I forgot what day it is. Yeah, Monday. So tomorrow night I'll be doing Ahsoka, and yeah, it's just annoying with the times that they pick to release these things. It's just stupid, absolutely stupid. At least for 2 o'clock in the morning for us is quite neutral, because it's like the afternoon for Americans. So early evening for Americans, I should say, which makes sense. But when it comes to other things, having an 8 o'clock in the morning release on a Friday morning, it's not good. And it's midnight for Americans. Americans can stay up until midnight, but what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to try and get up at 8 o'clock before 8 o'clock in the morning. If I've been able to sleep at all before 5 o'clock in the morning, and then or 8 o'clock in the morning, I should say. But I need to get up an hour or so before that so that I can do what I need to do in the morning. Like have a wash, maybe a shave. I haven't shaved for a couple of days, but it's besides the point. So it's difficult for me to say what I'm going to be doing or how I'm going to be doing it. If you guys have opinions and ideas on how what times I should do reactions, like for Loki, because I would like to do a watch party series for Loki, but unfortunately I can't. But we also have other shows that it's happening to as well. Every time an Amazon show comes out, it's 8 o'clock in the morning for me. Same with Disney mostly. I think Netflix is different, because I think Netflix it's midnight anyway. But it's just the times that they're picking to release these shows are just too early in the morning. I mean, Loki, midnight for Pacific Standard, and then for me, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up early in the morning to try and do a live for that, which is going to be difficult because obviously I've got other videos to make late at night so that I can get people watching it. It's annoying, and I wish they would change the Loki release time to the same as Ahsoka, because Ahsoka's release time is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. There's no problem with it. Anyway, I think I've ranted on long enough in this video, so I think I'll give it a few more minutes, and then I'll call it a night. Because I've got a few things I need to do to prepare for my Gen V episode 2 watch party, which is going to be interesting because I've heard bad things about episode 2. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka's final, and I'm looking forward to the Continental final. And it's just a weird times that they released them. So, I mean, it would be nice to have a more uniform time, like a universal time for them to actually release something. Yeah, but I've heard bad things about episode 2, Harris. I haven't watched it yet. I'm watching it tonight live, but I really not sure on it, especially considering on the back of Continental Part 2, the second episode was really slow to me, and it was stretched out too much, if that makes sense. And not a lot really happened except for that karate fight over the pickup truck. There wasn't really anything other than that, was there? And the twins tearing up a caravan and the Mustang. Sorry, Shelby. Got to remember it's Shelby, not the Mustang. I love the car though. It's a shame to see it in such a state. It's my favorite American muscle car, the GT500. Even the new version of it I like, which was actually Kit in the remake of Knight Rider. Well, in the continuation of Knight Rider, where it was Michael Knight's son that was the driver. That was Michael. Shelby is gorgeous. Not just good looking; they're absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't matter what era they're in. Mustangs look sexy as hell. I tell you. I mean, my one of my favorites. Well, okay, the GT500. That's Eleanor, right? Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. It's John Wick's car. I don't mind you. I don't think John Wick's car is I think that's just the Mustang. It's not the Shelby, is it? But the Shelby GT500 version of that is absolutely gorgeous. I also like the 65 Mustang, the one that was converted into a convertible by most people because they didn't release it as quite a boxy roof. I like the convertible version. It looked really, really nice. And it was in one of my favourite films, which was K9. Didn't like the colour. It was a horrible green, but it's a beautiful looking car. If there's anything you Americans you do make sexy looking muscle cars, I tell you. One of my favourite films, Vanishing Point, both the original and the remake, where they had the 69? Is it the 69 Challenger in white? Beautiful car. Well, you're American, of course you do. But a lot of there are a lot of American cars that are really, really nice. Except I'm trying to think of the word of how we describe the Cadillacs, because Cadillacs are way too big. And I still can't believe that GMC bought Pontiac just to literally destroy it, just to fucking erase it. That's why if we do get a Knight Rider reboot or anything, it's not going to be It's not going to be a Firebird because they don't exist anymore, right? Yeah. So what's it going to be? A GMC Firebird? Doesn't sound right, does it? But I did like the Mustang that they did in the is it the 2008? Is it 2008 version of Knight Rider? I think it was 2008. It ran from 2008 to 2009. That was a nice one. But that was and it's actually that type of Mustang is actually the first American muscle car that has been released in the UK in right-hand drive. So we drive it on the right side of the car, not the wrong. But we have a 2-liter version, I think it is. It's a 2-liter, and we have the 6-liter V8. We don't have is it the big block? Because the big block are actually not used in the UK. We don't. It's like we rarely have cars. We don't even. We used to have cars where we would build like the Aston Martin, where it would have either a V8, V10, or a V12. But it's like the only cars were prestige cars that had that. They weren't particularly made for performance like American big engines were. But we did have a really awesome car you might have heard of. It was actually in a Fast and Furious film. But do you remember when before Letty got her memories back, she was driving that car that actually had, I think that was a big block V8 from a Mustang. I think that was actually from a Mustang, and that was called the Jensen Interceptor. That was one of our best looking cars, and it was an outstanding beast. It was rusted like hell, but what didn't back then? It was a nice car, it really was. Jensen Interceptor, even the name. But even the Australians are good at making cars. I mean, they made the Interceptor for Mad Max. What is it? Holden? I think they call it. Is it the Holden car brand? Car manufacturer Holden. I can't remember. I think it's Holden. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it's Holden. I think I'll have to look into that at some point. But this is not a car show. Well, it could be because there are some good sci-fi cars like Kit from Knight Rider. So there are some good stuff. But all right, that's gone even longer than I was expecting. So I am actually going to call it a night, and I'll probably see you in the chat in your video, Harris. If you're still doing it, of course. So yeah, I'm going to call it a night. And like I say, Harris, I'll see you in your chat. I've got a video. A live to what do at midnight as well for us. So at 12, it's not far off either. Hour and 40 minutes. Okay, so I am going to head off, and thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and Harris, great having you here, mate. And hey, who knows? Maybe the Schwartz will be with you always. See you later.